Come on. Do math.
That's racist.
Come on. Do math.
That's also racist.
Come on. Do math.
How? What? Is public school even an option anymore for parents? No, I don't have any kids, but it seems like if I did, I would probably only homeschool them. It started with that dang Common Core math, which nobody understands, but this is real. I assure you, it is being taught, at least I believe, in one perhaps school in Oregon, and we're going to take a look at it. As of course, I'm not sure if you knew this, but math is suffering from a massive problem in the white supremacy. That this is a massive problem in mathematics. I do want to take just a second to remind everyone I'm pushing really, really hard my Subscribe Star this month. It is a free speech alternative to Patreon, and it is the single most helpful way for you to support the channel. I'll leave a link in the description in the pinned comment. If you're in the position to, please do consider backing today. It goes so far. It is so important. We have an article here, and I have the actual training too, so we can all deal with the tough issues today in mathematics. Math suffers from, well, the supremacy, according to a Bill Gates funded course. An effort to portray traditional styles of teaching math as being non-inclusive is gaining steam as part of a courtesy of the billionaire co-founded of Microsoft as is mockery of the effort. The latest example of the latter is a screenshot from the Equitable Math Curriculum, which is supported with a $1 million grant from Bill and Melinda Gates to the Education Trust. The screenshot making the rounds on Twitter is an image of the equitablemath.org website that begins with white supremacy culture shows up in math classrooms while the focus is on getting the answer right. I want you to take a minute, look inside yourself, click the like button, and if you haven't yet, click that subscribe button in the lower right hand right below this video. Your support is important, and it's the only way you'll ever find my videos. That's followed by a paragraph that reads, the concept of mathematics being purely objective is unequivocally false, and teaching it is even much less so. Upholding the idea that there is always a right and wrong answer perpetuate objectivity as well as fear of open conflict. Mathematics, everybody. 2 plus 2 does not equal 4. If it does, you're holding. You're a member of the people that wear the sheets over their heads. Newsweek reached out to the Gates Foundation asking if they agree with those assertions and asking it to explain the exact meaning. The group confirmed the donation but was unable for further comment. The equitable math method of teaching consists of 5, quote, strides. The first stride is dismantling racism in mathematics is one, and of course that's the one getting the most attention. The lesson calls for educators to reflect on their own bias. Math has no bias. The answer is either correct or it's not correct. I don't really understand what is happening in the world today in education, but it is not setting up American children for success in life. Because in real life, problems have actual solutions. There are many things in life that are not up for debate. How about when you're taking your insulin, you're giving grandma her insulin and she's supposed to get 1 milligram, but you say, what's the difference between a milligram and a gram? I don't want to be held inside this box. It's the white man that told me a milligram's less than a gram. I'm going to give grandma, 100 times the dose. The lesson calls for educators to reflect on bias and builds itself as a collective approach to dismantling supremacy. The stride calls for teachers to avoid ideas that reinforce paternalism and power hoarding, and to continually challenge themselves to incorporate anti-racist practices. I mean, look, when you're trying to find, when you're solving, let's say you're looking at, maybe the tangent of an angle, or you're trying to solve, let's say, a physics equation. One of the ones almost everybody knows: force equals mass times acceleration, right? We know that the Earth, the base acceleration of Earth being 9.81 meters per second, but instead, sometimes we use 10 for back of the napkin math. But you're just gonna say that I'm just pick 3, and that answer will be wrong. You're racist. The equitable math curriculum also borrows from best-selling book White Fragility by Robin DiAngelo, where the author writes that whiteness is dynamic, rational, and operating at all times and by a myriad of levels. These processes include basic rights, values, and beliefs, an experience purported to be commonly shared by all, which are actually only consistently afforded to white people. Robin DiAngelo, of course, being fired or removed from the LinkedIn website just yesterday after his ridiculous training that was used by Coca-Cola was discovered. This is the stuff, okay? This is the stuff that that they're teaching your kids. You need to get involved in your child's education. I am not a firm believer in homeschooling. I believe that homeschooling robs children of a lot of the important day-to-day interactions that they're going to have with other kids. They need to learn that there is a hierarchy of a social hierarchy. They need to learn that there are societal norms that aren't okay or are okay. These are the things you learn in school outside of the classroom. Those lessons are equally important, especially at young ages. You want to make the argument for homeschooling at college level? I'd 100% agree with that. There's zero reason for colleges to really exist in the form that they do right now. You can make the argument for high school, to be honest. And if we look at this is real. This is real. 1, engage. White supremacy culture shows up in math classrooms when, now, are you ready for this? Math teachers are when students are explained to show their work. I remember show your work, and I remember saying, it's stupid. What does it matter if I get the right answer if I don't show my work? Later in life, you'll realize that completing the process the correct way matters. Skipping steps in real life has real consequences. Showing your work proves you understand it and you didn't just sneak a TI-83 into your math test. Okay? Math teachers ask students to show their work. So when teachers know what students are thinking, but that centers the teachers need to understand rather than the student learning, it becomes a crutch for teachers seeking to understand what students are thinking and less of a tool for students in learning how to process. This is absolute nonsense. You show your work so you know that you understand how the equation works and you didn't just use a calculator. A complex equation, okay, has many levels to it. And you need to understand each aspect and why it's important. This is normal. If you study physics, you know, we did a lot of equations in physics class, and all of them had to be shown. Chemistry, same thing. When you're breaking down, you're doing your moles, calculations, things like that. You need to show your work because you need to show you understand it. It isn't to get in your head. Thus, requiring students to show their work reinforces worship of the written word as well as paternalism. What? What? If your real world math is valued over math in the real world, well, yes, I would argue that perhaps in some cases it is, but, you know, I want my accountant to use actual math. You know, when I'm buying items at a grocery store, I'd like for the math to be correct. When I buy an item that says it's 25% off, I'd like it to give me 25% off and not a whatever 20% off. You learn so much by doing the work. This stuff is insane. It shows up when rigor is expressed only in difficulty. If we want to build a rocket, what are all the things we need to do before we get started? Along the way, we decided that we want the rocket to reach the moon. What do we need to consider now? Start with a more complex math problem and scaffold as necessary. Now, this is not necessarily a bad piece of advice, but what exactly does it have to do with white supremacy? I mean, I don't understand. It's all here. This is real. This is funded. And your teachers are taking these classes. What the hell is this? Math is taught, it's bad to teach math in a linear fashion, and skills are taught sequentially without true understanding or prerequisite knowledge. Wait a minute. Didn't you say asking people to show their work, which is essentially proving they understand, true understanding of the equation, didn't you say that was bad? Now I'm confused. Which one is the supremacist lesson? This is real. This stuff is going into your schools. You need to get involved and know if this is where, I mean, if your tax dollars are going for this, it's insanity. This is just the race grift that is built off of, you know, the original sin of whiteness. You know, the idea that any of this, how am I authentically including black Latinx? You know for sure that they're a garbage firm if they use Latinx. No Latino I've ever met or talked to uses that term. It's only white people. And also, guess what? Math is the great equalizer. An equation affects you and your skin color in 0 different ways. 2 students sitting next to each other doing the same equation is a great equalizer. This whole thing is absolute insanity. Matt, oh God, I just can't. Leave a like on this video if you think this is insane. I look forward to reading your comments, and make sure you share this video because people need to know that this crap is getting put into your classrooms. You can see the correct answer to a math equation is now racist. The concept of mathematics is, you know, when the focus is on getting the right answer. There is only one answer in math. God. Oh, I can't. Hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.